Welcome to Frederick at its best, and thank you for joining us. I'm Frederick County Executive Jan Gardner. Today, we join Americans across our great nation to celebrate Veterans Day, a day when we honor the men and women who have served our country and protected our freedoms. Veterans Day gives us an opportunity to pause and remember all the sacrifices that were made by ordinary citizens who did extraordinary things to defend our country. Veterans Day was first celebrated 98 years ago when President Woodrow Wilson proclaimed November 11, 1919 as Armistice Day. In 1954, it was renamed Veterans Day by President Dwight D. Eisenhower. Many Veterans Day events are scheduled in our community. A special one is the annual Veterans Day Parade in Brunswick, which is the oldest of such celebrations in the United States, and it's the only Veterans Day parade in the state of Maryland. I'm honored today to be joined by some Frederick County veterans, and I want to thank each of you for your service. There are over 16 million veterans in the United States, and Frederick County is home to approximately 17,000. We rank 7th out of 24 counties in Maryland in terms of the number of veterans living in our community. Our veterans have served our country in times of war and in times of peace. They're basically serving us all the time. We can never truly repay our veterans for all that they have done for this country. My father served during the Korean War, and my father-in-law served during World War II, as did his father. So I personally appreciate the immense commitment these men, women, and their families have made for all of us. I firmly believe we need to do our utmost to ensure that our veterans are fully supported and are connected to the resources they need. We know that fewer of our young people are joining some of our traditional veterans organizations like the American Legion and the VFW, and that welcome them and have provided support for generations of service members. So that's why in county government we proposed a Frederick County Commission on Veterans Affairs, which the County Council passed, and it's named the Veterans Advisory Council. I'm sure Council President Otis will speak a little bit more about that. But the Advisory Council will serve as a conduit to connect veterans to resources and information, and at least a couple of the people standing with us today are members of that newly appointed council. There are many agencies and organizations in Frederick County government that also work hard to assist our veterans. Those include Frederick County Workforce Services, whose staff provides priority service to our veterans and offers training specifically designed for veterans, preparing them for civilian careers. The United States Department of Veterans Affairs Veterans Center has space at the Frederick Senior Center on Tawney Avenue, next to the American Legion FSK Post 11. And of course, longtime institutions like the American Legion, the Veterans of Foreign Wars, and others also actively support our veterans. Our community college has a Veterans Services Office that does a great job offering academic and support services for our veterans so they could take advantage of their educational benefits and enroll at the community college. I would also note that some of our other institutions of higher education, like Mount St. Mary's, have a special veterans program. It's certainly our duty to ensure that veterans have access to education, employment, counseling, and other support services. So I'd like to read a proclamation on behalf of Veterans Day. Whereas on Veterans Day, we pay tribute to the service and sacrifice of the men and women who, in defense of our freedom, have bravely worn the uniform of the United States Armed Forces. And whereas throughout the world, brave patriots have protected our nation's ideals, rescued millions from tyranny, and helped spread freedom around the globe. Americans' veterans answered the call when asked to protect our nation. They stood tall in the face of danger and enabled our nation to become the greatest force for freedom in human history. And whereas members of the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Coast Guard have answered a high calling to serve and have helped secure America at every turn. And whereas our country is forever indebted to our veterans for their quiet courage and exemplary service. On Veterans Day, we remember these heroes for their valor, their loyalty, and their dedication. Their selfless sacrifices continue to inspire us today to work to advocate for peace and extend freedom around the world. So now, therefore, as the County Executive of Frederick County, as well as the President of the County Council, Bud Otis, we hereby proclaim Sunday, November 11, 2018, as Veterans Day in Frederick County and encourage this observance to all of our citizens. So with that, I'll pass it over to you, Council President Otis.
Veterans Day to me is a sacred day. Of all the holidays we have on our list, it's the most sacred for the sacrifice that it talks about and the tremendous service of the men and women to our armed services. I enjoy going to the Brunswick parade. I have my car in the parade, but I also have veterans go with me. And it's been very invigorating to them, particularly those who were in Vietnam and never had a parade when they came home. And so every year I have them go with me, and they pass out the candy as we walk through the parade. It's a moving moment for them. It is for me to watch them and see how humbling it is for them to see people really acknowledge them and salute them as they're going through the parade. So it's a great honor to be able to recognize our veterans. There's almost 17,000 here in this county, and to have the Veterans Advisory now where they can have their issues dealt with countywide and make sure everybody is getting everything that they have coming to them. And I think it's going to be an exciting time for our veterans in this county. This time I'd like to pass it to Mr. Howard.
Okay. Good morning. I'm Wayne Howard, Human Resources Director for the county, and I'd like to thank all of the veterans for their service. My father was a Korean War veteran, and he served with pride. Thank you. Here.
I'm the exception to the rule. I'm U.S. Navy Reserve, so I'm sort of out of place here, but I'm delighted to see support for the veterans, and I want to see more of it, and I want to see more people.
You're never out of place, Lynn.
Good morning. My name is Fred Schumacher, Colonel in the United States Army, retired. Spent 35 years in commissioned service. I'd like to talk about some of the events that are going to occur this year in Frederick, because this year is a special year as we commemorate the 100th anniversary of the end of the Great War in 1918. Beginning on Saturday night, there'll be a candlelight tour through Mount Olivet Cemetery, highlighting those graves of the World War I veterans. At 11 o'clock at Mount Olivet, there'll be a special service commemorating the hour and the day and the month when the armistice was signed. That will coincide with a bell ringing that will occur throughout Frederick County, as the churches have been asked to peal their bells at 11 o'clock for that hour. Now, at 2 o'clock, the ceremony will begin at Memorial Park, but at 1:30, we'll have Echo Taps, where we get between 25 to 50 brass musicians that will line Market Street, playing taps down the street to coincide again with the ceremony that will begin at 2 o'clock. So we have a number of events and hope that you can attend one or all of them in the county.
Okay, can you pass it to Andrea?
I'm Andrea Walker. I'm the Director of Behavioral Health Services for the Frederick County Health Department and a member of the newly created Veterans Advisory Council. And I look forward to attending at least one of those events.
I'm David McGinnis. I'm the Deputy Director of IIT for Frederick County. And I am a 20-year veteran of the United States Air Force, retired captain.
Okay. Thank you all for being here. So we do have Air Force, Army, and Navy. So
Well, it's reassuring that we have Navy here.
all right, thank you for sharing all the information about the events that are happening. Also on Sunday, November 11th, there is the Brunswick Veterans Day Parade. They have a program that starts at 1 and the parade begins at 2. And they always have a good speaker as well as a Grand Marshal, who is usually the oldest member in the community who is a living veteran. So it sounds like there's a lot to do this year to honor Veterans Day, and we hope all of you will come out and participate in one of those to honor our veterans who really deserve our respect. So I want to express appreciation to each of you for your service to our country. Veterans Day is an important day for all Frederick County citizens to show their thanks to members of the military who've kept us safe and protected. You've preserved a nation, preserved our freedom. So thank you. We salute you.